Hello, it's Kationyekere, your Aura Alchemist, Soul Alignment Guide, Soul Master Teacher, Oracle, High Priestess, Psychic, Tarot Reader, Transformer. Okay, all right. This is just me giving a few minutes to the algorithm. If you're watching the replay, come say hello. I have a lot of topics. I have a long list of topics. There's been a lot of different messages coming through in different directions, which is kind of normal for me as a channel, but it's funny, one of the messages that came through was related to business, but I actually think that maybe it'll be relevant right now, but right now I just kind of want to tap in, offer a little reprieve on this Friday evening. Right now I'm going to tag people, give people a minute to show up, and we'll just see what comes out and what comes through. So let's find out. I'm tagging my people. I know it's Friday night. Saturday mornings is actually one of my favorite mornings to be up in the world. There's something about, because I think other people are sleeping, that morning quality that happens every morning. There's this quality to the air is like, I don't know, especially special. And I feel like it lasts longer on a Saturday morning. So there's something about a Saturday morning that's my favorite. So therefore I'm often in bed early on a Friday night, even though your girl loves to dance. All right, gonna tag some people and we'll get into a few different things. I may go over some of the concepts that I brought up. I can say right now that even though I feel ready to, I don't know, I guess, move on, for lack of a better term, versus the current events, I know other people have, at least my people, have expressed relief in me speaking on it. And it's cathartic for them and they're getting what they need for it. I can say, and if you've been following me for a long time, you're aware that I almost never comment on the goings of the world, because I'm very clear that everything is not mine to speak on. Everything is not mine to look at. Everything is not mine to channel. Everything is not my mission. Everything is not my assignment. Everything is not my lens. I'm very, very clear that if I'm speaking on it, it's because I'm told to. And as a human, I have no interest. If I didn't have the oath and the assignment that I do, because none of my titles are like for fun, they came with initiations and oaths and devotional commitments, and lifetime commitments, and in some cases vows. And so, the human in me would know even less than I do now. The only reason that I know as much as I do now is so that I can understand the humans that I serve and see what I need to see. That's just me personally. I don't know about you guys. If I didn't have a business, if I wasn't here to serve people in a capacity, I don't even know if I would have social media on my phone personally. And part of that's just my personality. I remember right before I finally got a phone, I remember I was like applying for an apartment and they were like, "What's your cell phone number?" And I was like, "I don't have one." And they were like, "Wow, you're like a dinosaur." And it's funny because now I'm like Mrs. Tech, because I need the tech and it's beautiful and it's wonderful and it helps me and it speeds things up and all of those things. But just it's just interesting because growing up, I was literally always the last person to like jump on the new thing or the new tech or whatever, and not out of resistance, but just out of, I don't know, personality or just being who I am. And I've kind of always been in my own world. And now, of course, I understand the divinely placed pieces to as to why that is. I wanted to try to keep this off, but I live in 90-something% humidity, so I did my best. Hopefully the sound doesn't come up here. Oh yeah, let me see if I forget that I can enhance the sound. I'll give that a try. I'm gonna try to silence the fan. Yeah, and it kind of occurred to me that maybe you guys would enjoy story time in terms of using this time to get personal instead of making everything about a teaching. And we can always do both. And you're free to ask some questions and we'll just flow through. So all that to say, when I do speak on something, it is only if I can help elevate it. I'm not interested in saying what everybody else is saying. I don't think I need to bring sand to the ocean. So unless it's my assignment, unless it's mine to say, and unless I can bring something that will make things better and help to elevate something, I have no interest in participating or engaging with it. A lot of you guys have learned this as well, because a lot of you guys send me stuff, for opinions, and I appreciate it. And I love so much that you value my insight on things. And I'm so clear that I'm not distracted. And that's one of my secrets as to why I am so productive, in terms of people around me do ask like how it is that I've been able to come as far as I have, either in my gifts or in everything that I'm building with the Soul Alignment Institute, or all the different things. And it's, nothing costs you more than interruption. It's actually one of the most costly things. So not even something that can take, we're talking, which means that something that can take you off course can technically be less harmful to you than constant little tiny, even minute interruptions. And so I am so very clear that I will not be interrupted from my mission and my assignments, all the way down to, this is how deeply I live in my embodiment, that, even in the morning when I walk down the street, I drop into my body and I ask Spirit, what direction is mine to walk today? That's how deep my devotion is. That's how much I'm in constant conversation with the mystery around me, and trusting that there's magic there. And I don't even know I don't need to know. And because of that, I just have a magical life. And all that to say, that is the level that I am studious to being where I'm supposed to be at all times, even if I don't understand why. So all that to say, I know that everybody's speaking right now, and I think that there are divine moments that are supposed to be, that are divine interruptions. First of all, there are no accidents. We are a collective group of souls co-creating a human experience. That's the truth. And if you want to step deeper into your soul development, it's time to look into where you're being inverted and where you're looking at the external world for information and then trying to put that over the spirit. Which is why I said maybe, I put in the title here, maybe we'll talk about no longer compartmentalizing. And if you guys really need some words, or you want to go over one of my earlier posts, we talked about division, like the actual definition of division, some critical thinking and some philosophy around that. If those are things that you want to talk about, you can comment. I'm really quite open. Today I'm focused on tuning in and holding space. There is terrible magic here. And it is okay if you are not bothered. And it is okay if you are bothered. And it is divine to have something that can interrupt and confront you in the way that some experiences are divinely designed to do. You are not divinely designed to be invested in everything, to care about everything, to know about everything. Care literally means to lament and practice anxiety for as well. That's the root of care. Do not let somebody utilize your good person program to manipulate and guilt and awaken your inner tribal survival mechanism, which is so very ingrained in us. Do not let somebody grab the hook that is the good person program that is hooked into the inner tribalism, which is very, very hooked to guilt and shame, which is the mechanism by which you are controlled by your inner tribalism. Shame is the thing that says, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. If we do this, we're going to be excommunicated from the tribe. We're going to die. Shame is basically a fear of death. Because shame is the little alarm system that says, I'm about to step out of bounds. And if I step out of bounds, I'm going to lose connection. I'm going to lose community. I'm going to lose the people that will keep me safe, aka I'm going to die. That is why shame is so visceral. That is why it's so powerful. That is why it's so convincing. And that is why it typically shows up as one of the last forms of sabotage right before you break into new ways of being and right before a major ego death. Shame is a common major element that will bubble up, sometimes even in ways where you're like, where is this coming from? I thought I cleared this. I haven't felt this in decades. It is because you're on the edge of something. It is right when you are about to break into further evolution into your divinely designed blueprint, because it is by design that we are here, because tribalism has benefit. So we are here and we upload the current tribal experience, and that it is our desire as a human to evolve through that into the expression and potency and evolution and maturity of our divinely designed blueprint. You may ask questions. We're just flowing through. You may ask for support. You may share how you're feeling. You may share what's inspired you. You may share a fear that's come up. It feels appropriate to simply let the space be the space this evening. Do not let these times and these moments constantly pulling you away from your divinely designed aligned path, using that inner tribal survival mechanism that is so visceral and so ingrained in you, that it is asking you to expend and create energy of angst, sadness, anger, and whatever other things that the current world likes to call virtue signaling, or the cool kids call virtue signaling, in the form of taking a stand in order to not be excommunicated from the tribe, or in order to get your good person tag. And by the way, on a real note, and I am still always speaking from the metaphysician, which is the vibrational experience, the patterns, the energy behind a thing. But there is currently a country right now that is the most oppressed country in the world, called North Korea, that exists the way it does because they utilize the good person program and the idea of a group of people needing to pay the debt of their ancestors in the form of reparations, and so much animosity was purposely pumped into the atmosphere in the form of division, in the form of it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault. So warring opposition, because opposition is neutral by itself, it's just facing each other, warring opposition, blaming, hanging, dragging, bullying. And once the idea was introduced, once you introduce an idea and the people pick it up, that's it. The people do the work for you. That's a very, very, very short summary of a country who is where it is because of the good person program. We have a model of what that looks like today. Great fucking question, Sarah. Interesting, because we were about to talk about that in compartmentalization, and I was thinking about sharing this in regards to my personal story of self-righteousness, because I was not allowed nor would I have been capable of stepping in as a healer had I not let go of a couple programs for me. So there are some programs that are unique to you that is crucial for you to break up with. There are certain ego deaths that you have to go through as points of initiation in order for you to be detached enough from your human, meaning it's not that I'm escaping the human, it's not that I'm disassociating from the human, it's not that I'm superior from the human, it's not that I stop being human. And yet, if I am stepping into a healer, which I hope you're not just doing because it's part-time and fun, you can, I guess. Good luck with that. But there are a series of ego deaths that are crucial that need to be done in order for you to be able to serve a human. And until you have done that work, you are going to be infecting any human that you have influence over, and you have great influence over somebody who opens their consciousness to you. Our consciousness is pliable and plastic and amazing and sensitive, and it's also at some points in time when it is vulnerable, it is weak and easily susceptible to influence, especially when we give somebody permission and we put somebody subconsciously in a state of authority. They have great power over the seeds that they can plant into our consciousness. You cannot compartmentalize your judgments as a healer. That's impossible. You also can't be judgment free because we're all humans. And the whole no judgment thing is taken out of context. There's judgment has different meanings. So we have to eventually make a judgment or come to a conclusion or make an assessment of something eventually. So we do need judgment in its context. Context, nuance, application. So for example, for me, I was raised by my dad, who was a journalist. He was a diehard journalist. He was a diehard patriot, and he won awards for his journalism, and he proved that the FBI was lying, and he knew about his friends were like crazy, weird ex-FBI agents that had been ostracized for finding out different truths. And he had a map with all the volcanoes in the world that could go off, and we had gas masks in the basement for every member of the family, and I had a go bag with my name on it in the closet, and especially me and my dad had a very special relationship. So unlike, I was the youngest of 5, and unlike my other siblings who, as soon as politics would come up, they'd leave the table. But it would just be me and my dad for hours from the time I was 8 or 9, just breaking stuff apart and arguing. And so it's interesting even to watch people's inner mechanisms of what makes them feel unsafe. And I have to watch for that even now, because when I get really serious, my voice can become very sharp, and I'm absolutely fine. But I'm very aware even while it's happening, since I can hear feelings and stuff. And I've gotten to know me over the years, and I've gotten to know how people perceive me. I have to clarify that just because I'm speaking with precision and sharpness, which I've realized is also what makes me an alchemist and a magician. You must be precise it is my nature. And so that can, especially when I'm communicating with women, it can feel very cold. I've gotten good at this now, obviously, but it can feel very cold, and it can feel very sharp, and it can feel even aggressive to some people. But it's just because when I know it's because of the way I was raised and how much training I had, and when it's time to do something, when I put something into it, and when I'm forced and I'm clear, it's just not even a question. And I got that from my dad. I got so many things from my dad. A lot of the qualities that make me so good at what I do today, I got from my daddy. Because he was a truth seeker. And who knew that I would use the elements of his character and his values and his courage, seeking truth out there in the political world, that I would pick up those elements and apply it to the spirit world. Who knew? Who'd have thunk? Who could have predicted? My soul did. I didn't. My soul knew what was up. Because I'm adopted, so I have two fathers, and I am my father's daughter. So yeah, I grew up sparring and putting ideas against each other. And I mean, we'd like get into it, and then we'd break bread, and then we'd go to dinner, and then we'd hang out all day, and we'd listen to Andrea Bocelli in the car, and we'd sing, and we'd have a great old time, and then we'd argue some more. It's funny. And so my evolution, in order to break up with the things, because ego death, if you're like, where should my next ego death be? Let's start with the beginning, the basic ones that everybody needs to go through. Your parents, your school programming, your religious programming, your relationship with authority, and the things you're most proud of. The things that you are most proud of are probably the things that need to be broken down in the form of breaking up with identifying, meaning that if you've always been the top athlete, what happens to your ego and your relationship with yourself when you can no longer perform? Just as an example. And so for me, my debating skills were so good that people, even just in regular conversation, just anywhere, not even like arguing, people would literally just say all the time, you should be a journalist or a lawyer. And for a time, I thought I would be a journalist. I thought I was going to become a radio journalist. Before my awakening. Before my wake-up call. Mine was more like a wake-up call. Because I was playing stupid games and winning stupid prizes. And trying to destroy my life. And so when I had my awakening, I got told very fucking clearly, under no uncertain terms, that I would never be able to have any form of enlightenment as long as I held on to politics. And that I needed to identify my self-righteousness and the level of identity and pride that I had in what made me who I am related to politics. And so from that moment forward, I volunteered for the Obama campaign. I did caucuses. I met him at the Democratic National Convention. I was in it, baby. I knew all the talking points, and I could argue them down with intelligence. And I had the balance of my dad, the conspiracy theorist who wasn't actually a theorist, who actually proved motherfucking conspiracy theorists right. Critical thinking and all the things, right? And balance, because I was raised around multiple very extreme views. And so I learned very young how to be kind of almost ambidextrous in terms of the many different, because my oldest brother and sister had a different family, and I lived with them for a time, and they were basically neoliberal, and my dad was basically neoconservative, and then I'm adopted, so my bloodline was different, and I lived with different people from the time I was 16, because my parents kicked me out at 16, because I was not easy. I was not an easy teenager. Who did I stress my parents out? Did I ever? To be fair, they stressed me out too. Okay, it was a mutual stressing, but definitely I stressed them out probably a lot. But my mom came on here today. I would say that there was a mutual stressing. Okay, and she does follow my Facebook page. She's very supportive. She doesn't like how much I use the F word, but she loves a lot of my messages. She'd prefer I abstain. Because my mom is Mormon, because I was raised by Mormons. I was raised by many extremes. It was only recently that Spirit revealed that my audacity began. I used to say that my audacity began in my 20s. But only recently did God reveal to me that my audacity started when I was 14, when I left the church. Mormonism is very intense tribalism. And I was very into it, and I was very proud, and I was going to church at 5 a.m. every morning, 5 days a week. Mormons, by the way, do study the King James Bible, so they don't have their own Bible. They have a different book that correlates in a different place in the world at the same time with correlating stories. Just for your own education, in case you were told one of the many crazy, weird things about Mormons. Don't get me wrong. There's other crazy, weird things about Mormons, which, I mean, it's easy to call something crazy when you didn't grow up with it, right? You could look at Catholics, drinking the blood of Christ and be like, what's that about? What's the accepted norm in your culture? So yeah, I know what it is. I understand extremism. I understand what righteousness is. I understand being marred in the we're right and everybody else is wrong. I understand what it was like to try to save people. Mormons train you to save people and convert people all of the time. I understand what it's like to experience deep consequences of breaking up with the tribe and never being accepted. There were so many things that were divinely put in my path so that I would never fit in. And that protected me. And it was a gift. And I've gone and picked up all that gold and all those understandings and all of those things. Because there are no accidents, and everything serves you, and everything is for your highest good. And these are experiences that your soul wanted to have. And I promise you, when you get through, it's like layers by layers by layers, but you will get to a point of graduation in the understanding of your life. Not obsession with meaning, but the understanding and revelations and the uncovering of keys in your life. As you uncover the distortions, then the illusion that you didn't choose this and that this wasn't for you, you will get to a point where there are only blessings. And it's not because you're delusional. It's because you see the intricate design of things. And the things that you're crying about from your past, you will sit in joy and tears of wonder in your future. I am a testimony, and so are my clients. If you keep doing this work and stop compartmentalizing the work, and if you keep showing the fuck up for the work, we have a mantra that I give my students as soon as any student joins, because we have to deprogram them from schoolwork so that they may embark on true soul work. School programming has fucked us up just as much as religious programming in terms of the ways that it gets in our way of our personal evolution and our relationship with ourselves and our ability to learn without shame and judgment. And so we say this is not soul work is about engagement, not completion. It's about staying engaged without running away. It's about staying present without abandoning yourself. And that takes courage. But it's worth doing. It's something we have to tell my students over and over again, because we all need to hear things over and over again at different times as we move and shift, right? The work is hard, but your life is hard. The work is hard. Well, you can work hard while you move into a happier, more fulfilling life where the work you're doing comes with a higher sense of purpose and nobility and devotion and pride and self-esteem and agency and sovereignty. Or you can say, I don't have time or energy to spend hard work on the life that I am craving and missing and thinking about and longing for and anxious that is not in front of me. I'm too busy keeping my old life alive. I'm too busy managing the suffering of my current life. I'm too busy managing and working with my limitations. I'm too busy recreating the limitations that are causing me suffering and angst and dissatisfaction. I'm too busy hiding in baby steps. I am too busy listening to my fear. I am too busy creating stress and suffering to invest in the hard work and make the sacrifice that will lead to a life where that suffering doesn't exist. Not because all suffering disappears and I'm going to a magical land of fairies and dust, but it does get better. And the way you feel about your experiences gets better. And what your experience does change. And you can create a life where you are suffering 80% less of today, even if you think your life is good. It can get better. No matter how good your life is, I promise you, it can get better. And that doesn't need to come from a place of feeling like your life sucks and not enough. It can come from a place of, wow, how many drops of magic can I extract from this lifetime? How much potential can I discover? How much can I surprise myself? How much can I contain? How much can I express? How much can I impact? How much can I influence? How much can I play? It's so nice to see you, Mr. CMOS. I'm in Mexico, where I have been for 3.5 years. I do travel a lot, so I was just in Houston. I go back and forth to Houston and Miami. Those are both kind of my homes a little bit. I like to say I'm a Texan Floridian. But I've been in Mexico for 3.5 years. Actually, it's going to be 4 years in January. So, you know, I'm a nomad. I like to say I'm a slow traveler. So I'll go somewhere for anywhere from 2 weeks to 4 months. Typically, it's about 4 months usually. And I go wherever God tells me to go. So typically if I'm somewhere you see me, I mean, I'm on assignment pretty much almost all the time, like 90% of the time. So speaking of the compartmentalizing, since you brought in such a good question about the ego death, I'm just getting back to that. And so, yeah, by the way, and to finish my story about the self-righteousness, like I could not pick up politics again for 8 years. It took me 8 years to deprogram enough to be able to re-enter any type of political, and not to get back to where I was before, but to even entertain it, to even know about it, to even even see a conversation about it. It took me 8 years to deprogram from my personal self-righteousness and political identities, because I'd read one thing and it would come back up. And I'd be like, "Ooh, I can no longer participate in that." It triggers my self-righteousness, and it triggers false personas and ideas about who I am, because I was very steeped in my political identity. I was very proud. And it's not about that being wrong, but it was literally working against my purpose, against my evolution, against my enlightenment, against my transformation, against my blueprint, against my spiritual gifts, and against my ability to be of service. And so I laid that down. Now, did I lay it down in one day and was like, la 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 la, I'm free? No, I fell, I got caught up, sometimes for a day, sometimes for a few weeks, and I'd be like, oh my God, I just remembered, none of this is real. Lord, none of this is real. And it would be like reawakening. It would be like re-coming out of in a spell. And I'd be like, oh my God, ooh, can't believe I got caught up in thinking that was how life works. Ooh. But more I got anchored into how life really works, and freer and sovereign, the easier it was to not get caught up, and the easier it was to get back out when I did get caught up. But I do have my own personal triggers. Mastery isn't being trigger free necessarily. Well, no, you can become trigger free. But I mean, that's that's a crazy amount of work. I mean, maybe after decades of devotion, maybe. But mastery is not about perfection and escaping all those human things. It's about understanding yourself and being able to have a dual consciousness where you can be just as observational as yourself as you can be the human having the experience, which means that you can become very conscious of how you move. And instead of being on autopilot and being in a reactionary state, which means that the external world is what's creating your reality because you are always the one reacting to it, which is not responding with conscious intent and design. And so for me, every once in a while, there are some particular triggers. It's very rare. Maybe once, I don't know. Maybe it's happened, 3 times in the last 5 years, where something will happen and I'll hear my dad's voice and I'll see all of the stuff he told me about the 20 different steps, plans for global domination and the different signs that militia is about to take over and la 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 la. And somebody's coming to my house and where's my go bag? And I got to go because everything is terrible and blah, 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 and the government. And I have to do my work in those moments. I don't get up on a pulpit. I don't get up on a platform. I don't confuse my fear for righteousness. I don't use it as grand warnings to talk about how terrible the world is. God, I could never work with a healer that believes the world is terrible and is scared to be in it. I'm sorry, but that's just do you, boo, I guess. But no thanks. What kind of God's child are you? If one of the laws is that all things are possible under God, how the fuck you a healer wielding? You need to utilize that truth and principle as a tool when working with somebody as a healer, but you're over here thinking the world is a terrible place and it's this hell you got to escape from and you're like doing God a favor being here? What? The reason I say compartmentalizing is everybody loves to say that they're the creator of their reality, but they only allow that truth to be in one little compartment. Everybody loves to do mirror work, except for when it doesn't count. And it always doesn't count when it's hard to do, or when they're easily triggered, or when they're not getting their way, or when they're embarrassed, or when they're in judgment, but their judgment is magically intuitive insight. They're a master, and therefore mastery means you can't live in the world? I'm sorry, your mastery as a human, as a soul having a human experience means that you can't be human and you struggle being human and you struggle being with other humans and you can't, and you're more and more brittle and you can't handle the energies and the feelings of the world, but you're a master healer and that's what your gifts do and now you're healing somebody else? I love you, but maybe there's some more work to do. Maybe there's another way. Maybe you're not done yet. Are you a creator or not? In the divine hierarchy of my reality, God's on top. In every department, in every compartment, in every life situation, no matter what evil may exist. So I don't know what reality you're living in, but in the reality where I'm living in, where God literally created it and made me, and gave me God power so that God may experience life through me and create through me. But God's getting like suppressed and squashed out in the what? That doesn't compute with any of the divine principles and universal law that I have come across and come to know and come to live by, which continues to feed and better my life over and over and over and over again. And so, by the way, Aaron, if you're still here, I was in Ghana. I don't know if I said when I got back, but I got back in June. And I was there for 4 months. And I'll probably go back the end of this year. Just for like a month. Ghana and I will be doing things together. Thanks for asking that question, Sarah. I honestly think in this day and age that I don't believe in like some sort of federal regulation when it comes to spiritual work or accreditation necessarily. But it is my opinion that you should go through a rigorous 12-month minimum focus on ego deaths just surrounding politics and society, and doing the mirror work through that. Because yes, the mirror, it is about you. It is always about you, not because everything is about you, but because everything is a window to you. And when you change, everything changes. You know, there were months where I was just doing ho'oponopono on our money. I would take a paintbrush, I would sit down with that money, and I would pray, and I would say thank you, and I would say I'm sorry, and I would just pour my heart out. I'm sorry for my judgments, I'm sorry for my distortions, I'm sorry for my projections. Thank you for being an energy exchange. Thank you for providing this country for me. Thank you for parenting this land. Whatever came out of me. Didn't really matter if I meant it, because it was about practice. And by the way, compassion is also taught as a practice. Practice in order to cultivate the reality of it. Not fake it until you make it and go through the motions. But practice with an earnest heart and a desire to cultivate. And be in relationship with. And have the capacity for. So, compassion is not automatic. It is something that we have to cultivate. It's something that we have to connect to and choose to stay connected to. And so it's possible that if you don't have that, that's a skill that's genuinely a skill. It might not be a switch that you can turn on. So is this something that you're not divinely designed to care about? Or do you feel like there's a form of inner apathy around you that you're not capable of experiencing compassion? Because in one of the posts we talk about that anahata actually means, which is your heart. That's the Sanskrit word for your heart chakra. And the meaning of it is actually to be completely pure and unobstructed. So if you are feeling your heart being open and you feel anything other than that pure, unobstructed love, that's not actually your heart center. That is the distortion. That is what's in the way. You haven't gotten all the way in yet. You haven't broken all the way through yet. So maybe this is something that you've become so disconnected from and disassociated from for lots of different good reasons and understandable reasons. because you're doing the best you can with what you have and the energy that you have and the world that you're in and all the things that you're trying to take care of and all the things that you're trying to figure out. And even though you have more resources than your ancestors, you have less connection than your ancestors did. That's something that we don't have, that our ancestors did have. And it's a problem. And we're going to be talking about it a lot in different ways. It's a Friday night. I have some tarot books next to me. Right after this, I'm getting in bed. I already ate. I saw my physical therapist today. This is my first full week back in the gym since my neck and jaw injury from when I got drugged in Ghana. So for me, that's quite a win. It took me, it's a very up and down, magically divine, somatic journey, unlocking my jaw. And it was not a linear journey. And I gained weight and I couldn't walk and I couldn't, It was a lot. I'm happy to say that your girl's been pain-free for like 3 weeks almost. No jaw locking. I'm back in the gym. I'm walking. My weight's going back down. My face is cleared up. Everything was happening. I mean, just, whoo. And I have new decks. Also, I'm so in love with yellow on my nails. I don't know when I'm going to switch. Usually I change it up every time. This is my 3rd time getting yellow. Me and yellow go together real bad now. Well, I thought I brought my oracle ones over here. I don't know where they are. Okay, all right. I got a new oracle deck too. The Daughter of Wands. I pulled up a card for us. We'll close the circle with a little card. Unless somebody drops a juicy question that I just can't resist. Okay, Jesus, where is the... What are we doing? What is this? Wands. Daughter. There we go. Visionary, passionate. The Daughter of Wands is a free spirit, a true visionary creature. She usually waits until later. By the way, I can read all tarot, but in original tarot, there's no such thing as Daughter of Wands. So that's why I'm getting this out. The Daughter of Wands is a free spirit, a true visionary creature. She usually waits until later to settle down or start a family, as she's busy with her career. She can be stubborn and much stronger than she looks. As with all the Wands family, the daughter makes a dangerous enemy. This card can also represent a woman going through a transformation or spiritual breakthrough. See, usually I get a regular tarot so that I don't have to use the book. So whenever it's an extra card that they have, if their book sucks, then it just sucks. So we're going to move on. I don't like cheesy Hallmark spiritual messages, and I didn't even connect to that card. Okay. This deck is amazing. I love this one, so I don't doubt that we'll get some magic from this one. I pulled for us The Gift of Birds. I won't read it all because this one is like very, very detailed. The Gift of Birds. The language that creates the world flows and whispers with every gust of wind. And you can equate the birds to swords for those of you who are tarot dorks like me. Flows and whispered with every gust of wind upon the face. The language of birds as subtly varied as the meter of the heart. The sword in traditional tarot decks symbolizes analysis and cutting through confusion, but also through conflict and emotional pain. The bird-headed shaman on this gift of birds holds a feathered shield to defend himself against mental aggression. The feathers imply a defense that depends more on clear understanding than force or anger. But strength of mind and ability to argue are not the ultimate gift of the suit of air. The flute floating to the ground shifts the birds and the analysis to art. It's the little green things here. Oh, that was my face. The flute is an expression of pure beauty taken directly from nature. One of the oldest of instruments, second only to the drum, and clearly inspired by the songs of birds, the flute has never been a safe creation of mine, for the sound evokes a wild abandon that can carry us beyond the rational restrictions of human culture. Like the bird songs it imitates, the flute evokes ecstatic journeys. According to some Greek stories, Hermes, god of wisdom, magic, science, and guide to dead souls, invented the flute as well as the lyre. Hermes gave the stringed lyre to Apollo, god of reason. Apollo, however, rejected the flute because of its disturbing qualities. The god Pan, for whose name we derive the word panic, then found the flute and decided it represented the perfect expression for him. We still call a flute made from a series of tubes a panpipe. The flute represents danger because it invites us to dance freely and wildly. It shakes us loose from all the rules we've learned. It liberates us from self-consciousness and fear. It allows us to become birds, if not in flight, then in song. This is the gift of art and beauty. It implies other forms of art, as well as music and poetry. It reaches beyond arts to its cousin, the gift of prophetic inspiration. If we look carefully, we will see that this gift challenges the person who receives it. The figure in the picture sees himself as a champion of the birds. Hold up. He holds the feathered shield and a banner with a picture of a powerful bird. Around his waist, he wears a pouch with the eye of prophecy, and on his head, a bird helmet. However, in order to pick up the flute, he will have to drop his shield. And in order to play it, he will have to remove the helmet. Creative gifts do not allow us just to enjoy their glory and think of ourselves in exalted terms as champions of art and prophecy. We must open ourselves emotionally and mentally before we can make any use of them. Divinatory, meaning art, inspiration, outpouring of ideas, passion, wildness, free-flying energy, all of the qualities we associate with birds, as this card is called, the gift of birds. The need to open up emotionally and mentally, and to drop our arms in order to open our gift. And that's the message for tonight that I will end with. All right, this is my commitment of going live every day no matter what. My goal is 2 p.m. I'm not going to lie, I'm not doing good at it, but I'm proud of myself that I've shown up every day at the gym, that I'm showing up every day going live. This is about a recommitment to myself now that I am feeling better and healthy and getting back and just getting back into the swing of things in a way that feels really, really good and not like going too extreme at all. It's just about, just recommitting and being anchored and reconnecting to everything, including you guys. And I'm really grateful for you. It is an honor to be connected to you. It's an honor that you guys value my word and my insight. And then in the process, you lend me your grace and your attention. And the way that you guys often and frequently honor and acknowledge me is valuable to me. And I love what I do. And I always hope that anything that I do and offer only serves to make something better. Or I don't want to do it. And to get somebody freer. That's always my wish and always my prayer. If you have any requests, whether it's personal questions or particular teachings, or you have other questions, you are welcome to make requests in my inbox. You are welcome to make requests and ask deeper questions. Even on my posts, I might not answer them in the moment. But as long as you treat these posts as if you are in class and you are asking earnest questions, I appreciate them. And you never know what question could open up a new channeling or a new portal that we all could possibly enjoy together. So thanks for being here. Thanks for liking. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for supporting. Thanks for sharing. The clearing, I opened up some healing memberships. It starts at only $33 a month. And it's funny because I had that membership on a shelf for a year, and then Spirit said the time is now last week. And I was just choosing a time, and I was like, we'll get going. And I felt to pause, and then everything happened this week. So I am going to wait a few more days. So those that have paid, I'll reach out and let you guys know, and, you know, on the email or whatever. So I think I'm going to wait until Monday or Tuesday, or maybe even next Wednesday, just in light to everything that's happening. And the reason that we had done the healing last year, and the reason we said it was going to be a monthly energy clearing, is because the intensity is not over. I'm not saying that you have something to fear, but the external environment and the feelings and the things that are coming up today, you know, we've seen it coming, you know, and while it's all medicine, it doesn't make it any less necessary that you keep your energy clear, that you cut cords frequently, and that you practice pristine energy. So if you'd like to sign up, starts at $33 a month. I'll send you the link, the website link, which is working. You sign up, you get a healing once a month. You can cancel anytime, but especially if this week hit you for any reason, or if you're overwhelmed by the environment, your external environment, people, relationships, then I suggest you sign up for, there's 4 different types. You can sign up for up to 4 of them. One of the categories is clear the anxiety. And that would be the one that if you're especially feeling anxious about friends, family, and having to kind of navigate the tumultuous, the field of having to kind of engage and interact with these people and trying to not, you know, and you feel like you're on tiptoes, or you can't be yourself, or you feel like you're in danger, I recommend the Clear the Anxiety. Any of the clearings is helpful, but if you'd like the link to sign up for that membership, you can reach out. If I am asleep, I will send you the link tomorrow. And I love you. And good night. Okay, bye.